You've heard that spiritual awakening requires two energies to be activated within the body, Kundalini and Prana. But what if there is a third spiritual energy that is being integrated into human bodies for the first time in Earth's history? And what if this secret energy is necessary in order to be able to integrate the higher dimensional energies we are now experiencing? It turns out that the third spiritual energy they've hidden from you for 13,000 years is the missing key that activates the other two energies in your body, and together, these three energies make you a living immortal who can simply walk into the 5D Earth that is now appearing before us. In this video, I will explain the three energies of Kundalini, Prana, and the third secret higher dimensional energy that the Ascended Masters are revealing to humans for the first time. And I'll tell you exactly how to fully activate the 5D ascension process within you. So these are the three energies: Kundalini, Prana or Chi, Shi, also known as the heart mind. You may not have heard of this one before. So what are the three Shaktis? Shaktis are feminine spiritual powers. The word Shakti comes from the same root as the English verb to shake. That's important because in Kundalini Yoga, you're told that if you can awaken the Kundalini in the spinal column, as it rises up the spine, the body will shake or the body will move. This is why it's called Shakti. Just to let you know, there's a very powerful connection to the idea of a spear. You know, Odin would be the Norse equivalent of the god associated with the awakening of Kundalini. And his magical weapon is a spear. And in ancient times, before armies went into battle, they had long, big spears, and they would stand there and they would shake the spear. And the spear would go whoosh, 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 and it would strike fear into the opposing armies. That's why Kundalini is called Shakti. It shakes the spine and it creates terror in the unconscious part of the mind. And it brings awakening. This is why people don't know it, but this is why these energies are called Shaktis. And what's interesting is that Shakti is a feminine power. So Shakti comes from the same root as the English verb to shake. Prana Shakti is the force of breath, life force energy of physical health. Kundalini Shakti is the force that awakens consciousness to higher dimensions. It acts as a spiritual conduit. Shi, or heart mind, is an unknown energy to most people, but it is directly connected to higher dimensional energies. So we're going to be talking about these three Shaktis. And for the first time in history, now we are able to integrate these in an extremely powerful way. And this is being done at the behest of higher dimensional beings, the Ascended Masters, who are bringing awakening to the earth. They are bringing this spiritual science, this technology of unifying all three of these Shaktis, these three energies together. So let's talk about Prana Shakti. Now this has a connection to third dimensional physical health. So the word prana translates directly to breathe forth. Prana, to forth, breathe forth. And so it's not just breathing, but you're breathing, and the idea is that this energy moves you forward. It's the energy of action. That's why we breathe a lot when we're moving a lot. We take this energy, and this energy gives us the ability to move through the third dimension. So prana is the ambient the ambient field of life force energy that surrounds all manifested life. It is the same as Chinese qi, and it means basically the same thing. Qi translates directly to breath of life. So prana, qi is in the third dimension. We are continuously surrounded by energy. And, this is the one thing that the dark force elites can't package and sell. If they could, they would, but they can't. Because it is through the oxygen, through the breathing, that we are able to absorb this energy. We absorb it through our body and our skin and through our eyes and through our ears as well, but it is ambient energy that surrounds us all the time. So without abundant qi, without prana, the human body dies. Qigong, which translates to life force energy work, is the practice of absorbing, balancing, or increasing qi, or life force energy. So pranayama does this. It primarily does it through breath. Qigong does it through not only breath, but also does it through movement and conscious movement. Tai Chi is a form of very advanced Qigong. Pranayama is the practice of using breath ratios to increase prana in the nadis. Pranayama has a direct connection to consciousness. So the way that you breathe has a very powerful effect on how you think and what level that your brain vibrates at, which is why the yogis really have made a science out of different methods of breathing, pranayama. So, prana is not Kundalini. This is important because, listen, the reason why I'm making this video is that most people don't know what Kundalini is. And most people know what Qi is, but people conflate Qi with Kundalini. And all you have to do is online right now, YouTube or wherever, just type in, what is Kundalini? And some well-meaning but rather spiritually uneducated person will say something along the lines of, and by the way, I've heard this from huge teachers, if I were to tell you the names of these teachers, you go, oh my God, that person doesn't know what they're talking about? But even huge teachers have said that Kundalini is the life force energy. It's not. The life force energy is prana or qi. Listen, if the yogis thought that prana and Kundalini were the same thing, they wouldn't have two different words for it. Kundalini is something altogether different. So we're going to talk about that next. So prana is not Kundalini. Kundalini Shakti, this is connected to the 4D awakening. So you see on the side there, the three Shaktis. Prana, Chi, life force energy is a 3D energy. Kundalini is a 4D energy, and it acts as a conduit between the third dimension and the fifth dimension. So Kundalini means coiled, and it's referring to 4D consciousness energy coiled around the base of the spine before it awakens. So after it awakens, it starts to move up the spine, and that's when the shaking occurs, and that's why it's called Shakti, because it moves and it shakes the spine. In fact, some people say they can feel their spine shaking. They can feel their whole body shaking. Now, this can happen with prana as well. That shaking, that feeling of shaking is the Shakti. It's the goddess energy moving through you, awakening you to higher dimensional energies. And yeah, so Kundalini it creates a conduit for your third dimensional consciousness. It creates a conduit for your third dimensional consciousness to connect to those higher dimensional energies. All right, that's before. We're here. All right. So Kundalini is closely connected to the nervous system and sensory experience. So the nadis, the yogis called them the nadis, and there's, you've heard about the three nadis, the central, and then the left and the right, the masculine and the feminine, the Ida and Pingala, and the Sushumna, which are the three main nadis. Again, third dimension, 3. And then there are 108, If you go beyond that, those are the main nadis throughout the body, and then there's many, many more, but they are directly associated with the nerves and the nervous system. This is going to be important for a moment. So Kundalini awakens the nervous system, which is what? Connected to the brain. In fact, all the nerves connect directly to the brain. And the brain is how we process third dimensional reality and interface our spirit consciousness. Our soul connects to the third dimension through this processor called the brain. The brain actually takes, according to scientists, the new discoveries have said that what the brain does is it takes quantum waves and collapses them so that you find one quantum reality and focus on it, which then gives you the perception of that one reality. So you see the connection. This is how Kundalini allows the third dimensional experience to be expanded. That's the point of it. So Kundalini is closely connected to the nervous system, sensory experience. Prana can be used to stimulate Kundalini awakening. So this is why pranayama is used. And this is why Qigong masters also have Kundalini awakenings, because Qi has a direct connection to the same energy systems and nadis in the nervous system. And so as more life force energy comes in to the nervous system awakens, Kundalini awakens, they work together. So this is one method. If somebody wants to awaken Kundalini, they can do certain pranayama practices and have a discipline of pranayama and or Qigong. Yoga also does that, to awaken the Kundalini so that you can have a third dimensional viewing screen of higher dimensional ideas, consciousness, and connection to even ascended masters and deities. However, without proper guidance, people can experience what is known as Kundalini psychosis. It's important to understand how this works and why this exists. So if you talk to any real yogi that's worth their salt, and or any Qigong master or Taoist meditation master who has any real mastery, they will tell you it is absolutely crucial to have a guru or a sifu or a teacher, because what can happen with Kundalini awakening especially, it can happen with prana and with Qi to a lesser degree, but especially with Kundalini, is that without proper guidance and understanding and without proper mindset, if these things aren't there, there is a very real danger that the Kundalini that is being awakened in the nervous system will actually create psychological imbalance. So much so that people can completely lose their mind. They can become psychotic. They can have Kundalini psychosis. They will have delusions of grandeur. They will think simultaneously that they're God and that they're being attacked by demons. That's important you see that. True psychopaths, they have that. They don't just think, they're not just confident. People think that psychopaths and narcissists are just really super confident. They're not. They're actually incredibly insecure. The confidence that they exude is a false, it's a shield. And behind that shield is tremendous insecurity and tremendous fear and victim mentality. So that's why you have, cult leaders go back and forth between being God and being attacked. And people who have Kundalini psychosis oftentimes will vacillate between having visions of heaven and then feeling that they're being attacked by demons. And they think this makes them even more spiritual. This is Kundalini psychosis. And it's because the nervous system is being overstimulated in a way without any balance. The teacher provides the balance, and the teacher will know how to guide the student to guide their thinking and give them whatever practices which will help them. So people who just jump into stuff and practice magic and practice energy work and learn from videos on YouTube without having a connection to teachers, that's why a lot of them have no idea what the hell they're doing. And that's why it can be potentially dangerous. So without proper guidance, people can experience what's called Kundalini psychosis. Kundalini is the conduit between the third dimensional consciousness and 5D light beings. So Kundalini is an integral part of yogic practice, because the focus of yogic practice, yoga means union, is to create union with the divine. And deities are seen as ways of doing that. So that's why there's so much focus on mantra and deity worship, because these help the Kundalini, the consciousness of the third dimension, actually awaken and attach to higher dimensional understandings. So that's the Kundalini Shakti awakening. And we have one more. That's the secret, I would say the most powerful of the three, which almost nobody knows about. That is the Shi, or the heart mind, which is 5D and above energy. So before we get into that, let's talk about the 7 chakras, because we're talking about Kundalini. And again, chakras are, and it's pronounced chakras, not chakras. Chakras. Chakra means wheel. And people misunderstand what chakras are. So if you're watching this because you want to know how to open the chakras, you don't understand what they are, and you don't understand what Kundalini is. Chakras aren't magical buttons that you push. You push the third eye, open the third eye, and now you can, see into the future. You don't push a button, open the heart chakra, and now you're full of love. That's not how this works. So we need to understand what chakras are. And anybody who talks about, I'm working to open my third chakra, they don't understand what they're doing. And it's an understandable mistake, because people want to have hacks into this. I can show you what those are. This isn't it. So let's talk about what chakras are. So chakra means wheels. Chakras are meeting points where bundles of nadis, the nerves, meet. So it goes up through around the spine, and as these many different nadis come together, bundles of them, when the Kundalini comes up and hits those bundles, then there's going to be a reaction. Now these bundles there's many chakras, but the 7 main ones have to do with different parts in the body where all the nadis come together. These nadis create lokas, which means worlds. Now these worlds are mindsets. So for instance, the root chakra has to do with security. So people who have weak root chakras have difficulty feeling physically secure. People who hoard, major lower chakra issues. So as Kundalini rises up and hits that bundle of nerves, if there's a block there, usually associated with mindset, and mindset is usually like you're born with a certain mindset that has come from a previous life where your actions created some energetic blocks in you. You were born in this life to work through that, and then as the Kundalini hits that, it's going to stimulate those problems. So the fact that you have problems is good. It means that energy is trying to let go of old karmic knots. So the chakra can either be the place of awakening to a new realm of understanding, a new world, or it can be a hell where you're trapped within your own karmic blocks. And if Kundalini, people they're at odds with themselves if they're doing Kundalini work and they don't have a teacher, or they have a bad teacher, and the Kundalini rises up because they're doing the practices and it hits that block, and then they have Kundalini psychosis and they lose it. And this is why you hear so many people talk about, Kundalini is dangerous. No, Kundalini is not dangerous. The only thing that's dangerous is your own mindset, your own interface with reality. That's the only danger. If your interface with reality is open and sane, then you can full blast Kundalini and you won't have any experience one way or another. You might have a pleasant experience. You will have consciousness. In fact, nothing crazy will happen because a healthy human being has Kundalini going through all 7 nadi bundles or chakras. So the 7 chakras represent different focuses of mental awareness. Chakras are opened when Kundalini flows through the nadi collection points and the yogi has a higher awareness of that karmic issue. Psychological imbalance occurs when the person resists the karmic awakening of any chakra point. So anybody who has Kundalini psychosis, it's not like you take a pill or do something and it goes away. No, they're going to need counseling. And the best person to do that is usually the guru, the teacher, because they've been there and or they know what's going on and they're able to help the person get sane. This is really what I do. This is why I'm telling you that the best thing you can do if you're watching my channel is work with me personally, because I'm going to be able to help untie all of that karmic garbage that you're trapped in. I can see it. You've seen me on live streams. I can tell within 2 to 3 words exactly what your issue is. Not because I'm anything special, but because I've been there. And that's the point of a teacher. They've been where you are and they know where you want to go. And they know where you should go better than you do. If you don't want that, then I don't know how to help you. But a teacher is really the only way that can help you through that. These practices are excellent, but when you combine the practices with the guidance of a teacher, then you're going to sail through this stuff. Teachers are going to tell you things you don't want to hear. They're going to tell you good things that you're going to enjoy hearing. They're going to teach you the practices that you're going to enjoy, and then they're going to tell you things that you don't want to hear that are challenging to your narcissism and your codependence. But it's the only way to get through here. And I'm here to tell you that what's happening now is the entire collective unconscious of Earth is going through a nadi awakening. And the Kundalini, if you will, is coming directly from higher dimensions in huge, huge packets. And it is smashing into human beings' karmic bundles. That's why everybody's going bonkers. And so the only way through it is really to surrender, completely surrender to the awakening process. And it is also in your best interest to have a teacher to help you do that. All right, so psychological imbalance occurs when the person resists the karmic awakening of any chakra point. All right, so now let's get into the 5D Shi, the heart-mind energy, which is being revealed to human beings for the first time. So the Shi, it's pronounced Shi, the Shi Shakti, and it is a Shakti because it is a feminine energy. It is in fact a goddess that everyone has in their heart. It has been hidden from human beings for 13,000 years, just now being released. I've been training in this for the past 30 years, and this knowledge of this energy started being revealed to human beings about 2,000 years ago to the Taoist sect that we now know as Mao Shan. That's why the Mao Shan are seen as sorcerers. There are people who aren't Mao Shan who pretend to be Mao Shan. They use the name because they want to sound like they're powerful or frighten people. But the true Mao Shan, the Shang Qing, these practitioners understood this Shakti, and they understood exactly what this energy was and how to release it. And I haven't found anybody else, and I've looked at, I think, all of them. I've looked at all the practices around, and nobody directly accesses this energy. The Mao Shan are the only ones. I've come to understand through my communications with extraterrestrial light beings that in fact the Shi energy and the practices associated with it are actually channeled from higher dimensions. And up until now, they've only been given to certain people for very specific reasons, for people who had a destiny to learn them, basically to learn and improve the technology so that now those that practice it can reveal it in its highest form. And so let's talk a little bit about that. We're here now. So the Shi energy is a 6D electromagnetic energy that surrounds the heart center protecting the soul from the harshness of the 3D existence. So if you've been on my channel, you've heard me talk about this before. So the Shen, which is the soul, is a masculine energy. It is your soul. It is the part of you that came from higher dimensions in between lives and you incarnated. It's here. It's not the part of you. It's not your brain. It's not your unconscious mind. It's not your personality. It's none of those things. Those things are external parts of your avatar that allow you to interface with this third dimensional illusion that we call planet Earth. Your soul is beyond all of that. Now, the soul is simultaneously far too sensitive to interact with the third dimension. The third dimension is too harsh, so the soul wouldn't be able to handle that. And simultaneously, the soul is actually a projection from a much higher dimension, and if the soul had direct connection to the third dimension, it would burn a hole through it. So this energy, this feminine power, the most powerful feminine energy there is, it's not Kundalini, by the way. It is something different. And this energy, this goddess, surrounds the soul. She loves the soul. She's constantly embracing the soul. She loves your soul that much. This energy now is what is allowing us to connect and communicate directly to higher dimensional ascended masters. And so the way that you do that is you release that energy that's normally just kept self-contained, protecting the soul. Now it gets released throughout the same nadis, throughout the same meridians that the prana comes through and the kundalini goes through. This higher dimensional energy is now unifying, and all three of these energies get empowered. And this is what allows somebody to move on to a higher level. And this is going to happen to all humans. Every human that shifts to one level or another, this energy is going to be released in them. So it's better to get ahead of it, especially right now, because right now is when people are really struggling, through their third dimensional, fifth dimensional awakening. And the She is absolutely necessary for it. So within 3D beings, the She is normally self-contained within the heart center. If She is released into the prana, the chi meridians, the person becomes extremely powerful. I can't overstate this. This is why the Mao Shan were so frightening. So I've been practicing with Mao Shan energy practices for over 30 years now, and I can tell you from personal experience that especially when I was learning and I didn't know how to, effectively channel the energies, I was training so hard. I had to be careful, because sometimes if I just touched somebody, energy would, this She energy would flow through them, and they would feel, they'd fall on the ground and cry. These kinds of things. In martial arts, if you have this energy flowing through you and you know how to deliver it, you can do things that are beyond understanding. So you apply this towards magic, towards intention, towards ritual. You have incredible power. And this power can be abused. Now, the karma of that is intolerable. I don't recommend it. But there are people who have been able to turn themselves into like Darth Vader type people. But they don't live very long, I can tell you that. So the only people who, up until now, who've been allowed by the universe to really tap into this energy and have it flow through them are people who were perfecting this knowledge and teaching and healing others. So if She is released into the prana chi meridians, the person becomes extremely powerful. If misused, She power is very dangerous in the third dimension. People with awakened She become extremely shamanically gifted. So the one thing that will happen is you will have direct communication with higher dimensional beings, with gods, with extraterrestrials, with even spirits. You'll be able to communicate. I've learned this just recently, where I'm very careful about who I try to connect with psychically, because it's not time to be doing that. So you can communicate psychically with anybody, with anything. You can tap into anybody. You can communicate with any being that exists out there. Extraterrestrials are here to help open the Shi specifically so that people can have this power. So anybody who has awakened the Shi will instantly become, maybe not instantly, will definitely become an extremely powerful shaman. What has taken other shamans lifetimes to achieve, all you have to do is just open a little bit of Shi energy through the body, and you have tremendous shamanic powers. I know I'm repeating myself. Higher dimensional light beings live in dimensions with extremely concentrated Shi energy. So I say this is a 6th dimensional and above. And I could go into a bunch of reasons why, but that would take a long time to explain. But if you choose to, you can just take my word for it. The energy that is released from here is 6th dimensional and above. And so you will be able to experience much higher dimensional levels of understanding. In fact, you will go beyond what people who have awakened their Kundalini and have achieved enlightenment. You'll go far beyond that. You'll go far beyond anybody even who's had a near-death experience and come back. Those people, they only have, the reason why people are given a choice when they have near-death experiences is because when they go beyond a certain level, they can't come back. And they're told that. They'll always be given a choice. Do you want to go back, or do you want to go through this door? And people always go, I want to go through that door. And I say, well, if you go through that door, you can't go back, so pick one. So if they've had a near-death experience and come back, it means that they didn't go through that veil which took them to really high dimensions. The Shi will take you there while you're in your 3rd dimensional body. So this has been something that only certain people have been allowed to experience until now. But this is what all human beings will experience. And so if you want to be able to go through it and be able to master it, understand it, then to be able to have the knowledge to open and release this Shi energy is extremely helpful. All right, so higher dimensional light beings live in dimensions with extremely concentrated Shi energy. So how the 3 Shaktis work in humans. So the prana Chi gives health, peace of mind, connection to spiritual energy, and trust in the universe to provide health and prosperity. So if somebody wants to feel calm and peaceful, this is why Tai Chi has become so popular, even though Tai Chi was originally a very lethal martial art. It was watered down, but still extremely effective of moving the Chi, the prana, the life force energy through the meridians, and this gives peace. Because when you're connected to life force energy, huge amounts of anxiety are relieved. People are uncomfortable because they fear not having their body nourished. This is why people worry about money. Why do you think billionaires are so worried about money, even though they have billions of dollars? Because their chi level is at 0. They are so afraid that they're not going to survive that they constantly have to make more money and control people. It means a complete lack of chi. So the more chi you have, the more peace you have, the more calm you have, and this helps you obviously on a spiritual level. And so this is why both yoga and Taoists, focus on chi and prana, why it's so important. So prana gives health, peace of mind, connection to spiritual energy, and trust in the universe to provide health and prosperity. Kundalini awakens conscious awareness of higher dimensional existence and gives enlightenment. Enlightenment is not the same as immortality. These are 2 different things. People can become completely enlightened and still die. So enlightenment is when Kundalini is fully awakened. And when Kundalini is fully awakened, then you have an understanding. You have a spiritual connection. Your consciousness is aware that you live in a spiritual reality. You have the basic understanding that this reality is at best a simulation, and that you understand what karma is, and you understand what is important. You just have enlightenment. People make enlightenment out to be much more than it really is. It's just being a complete human. So a fully complete human is somebody who has connection to their chi, connection to their prana, to life force energy, has peace and understanding and health, and has an awakening, an understanding that they are a spiritual being having a physical experience. That's all that enlightenment is, and that's what all humans were meant to be. We make it out to be much more than it is. Human beings are designed to become fully awakened, fully enlightened beings. We can go beyond that. So she gives direct contact with higher dimensional entities. It gives abilities for advanced astral travel. So this is something that the Maoshan are known for. They have the ability to astrally travel and experience. If you do the live guided interdimensional meditations with me, if you want to know why I'm able to bring so many people into such powerful experience just by doing astral travel, it's because I've been training in this for 30 years, and that Shi energy gives me that ability. It's nothing unusual. All of you can do it if you do the same practices that I've done. But that's what allows that to happen. The Shi energy gives a power to astral traveling that, I haven't experienced in any other practice. She gives power to alter 3D reality. You can literally bend space-time. You can do it with your energy. You can do it physically. There's no point in going into it. I've experimented with all that stuff, and I came to the conclusion that that's interesting, but that's not what's most important. But it will give you that power. And why? Because it's higher dimensional. Anytime you take something from 6D and above and put it in the third dimension starts warping and doing all kinds of crazy things. This is why when people do CE5 and orbs appear, they will morph into different, because it's a higher dimensional energy and it's messing and morphing third dimensional reality. She gives the power to, the ability to manifest physical realities. This is, again, one of the things that made the Maoshan so powerful, that you can intend a reality, and then you can take higher dimensional energy to go and actually change the nature of physical reality. And again, this is one of the reasons why the Maoshan were so feared, and why this energy under normal 3D circumstances can be extremely dangerous. It's not dangerous now because this world is already becoming shifted. So that's why the cat's out of the bag, because everybody's going to have this ability, because we're moving up to a higher frequency. All right, so it gives you the ability to manifest physical realities, and ultimately it gives you the ability to shift your body to a higher frequency reality, aka to become a perfected immortal. So there's a difference between, as I said, enlightenment and becoming a perfected immortal. Buddhism is focused on enlightenment. Yoga is focused on enlightenment for the most part. The Maoshan, if you ask them, they were focused on becoming perfected immortals. If you talk to them, they'd say, I'm turning myself into a god. And that's, to the average person, that sounds so, so narcissistic, but they just understood. Because of the Shi, they've connected to their higher dimensional self, and they know that's who they are. That's the truth with all humans. The delusion of the third dimension is that you're not a god. That's the craziest. All humans are crazy. All humans are insane because they don't realize that they're actually gods. So the Shi energy actually awakens you to that point. Again, when people have near-death experiences, they're taken to a limbo that's not the third dimension, and it's not higher dimensions. We could call it the fourth dimension if you want. And this is where they're given a choice. They look at their life and what's important, and they're given a past life review and a life review and all of that. But then they're told, do you want to go back to Earth, or do you want to go to this higher realm? And if they go to the higher realm, well, then you can't go back to Earth. So the ones that come back don't go beyond. They become basically, they're just given, a hack to have enlightenment. But this energy is this Mao Shan energy, this Shi energy, this third forbidden unknown energy is giving us, I can't even begin to put into words what is coming for us. But this new world is here, and we can walk into it. And the way we're going to do that is with this Shi power. And you can either have it happen to you, or you can go after it and use a technology and a science that will allow you step by step to achieve what we've only dreamed of before. Okay, so that's how the Shi energy works. And how to awaken the three Shaktis together. So awakening the Chi Prana body, this is how you do it. Breath work, basic meditation, Qigong, physical movement. Any physical movement is Qigong, in case you didn't know. Why? Because to move, you have to breathe. Energy moves through your body. You're doing Qigong right there. You're activating prana right there. You end up doing a pranayama afterwards. You lift something, that's pranayama. You're bringing in chi, bringing in prana. So any movement is pranayama, is qigong. Physical movement, communing with nature. Nature is constantly exuding chi energy, conscious life force energy. That's why it feels so good to walk in the forest. That's why it feels so good to go down to the ocean. I love living near the ocean. I love it. The ocean is so powerful. It gives off so much energy. Mountains, ocean, forests, even deserts. Anything that's the earth will give off chi. And living an authentic, peaceful existence. When you live a peaceful existence without ego, without fear, without trauma, without all the drama and craziness that most people live with. When you live in connection to yourself and to your physical surroundings, and you are trusting the universe to give you stuff, that is chi right there. That is prana, and that will give you health and long life. Again, that's just what average humans are supposed to do. Awakening Kundalini Shakti is done through mantra. Yoga is just means union, and there's various versions of yoga. I won't get into all of that, but mantra and yoga are directly associated with awakening the Kundalini. Meditation. There's certain meditations that are directly associated with Kundalini. Rituals awaken Kundalini, because you can't even begin to communicate with deities without Kundalini awakening. It's not possible. Kundalini is the conduit. Again, Kundalini is not life force energy, as so many, wannabe and very famous yogis and teachers will say. They have no idea what they're talking about. Kundalini is associated with connecting with higher frequencies and higher deities. So rituals is what that is. It's a way of awakening the Kundalini so that you can communicate and connect with a deity. Worship of deities, basically I just said that. Awakening the Shi. So the way to awaken the Shi, or the heart mind, the easiest one is to do CE5 protocols. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. The letter C, the letter E, the number 5 protocols. I'm not the only person doing it. It's happening all over the world. There's groups, there's Facebook groups that are doing it, happening all over. So you can do that. You can also do interdimensional meditation. Now that is my form that I do. It's a little bit more advanced, CE5 energies. And so if you want to go beyond just looking and seeing the ships, you can do the interdimensional meditation, which is really designed to give you direct connection, direct communication with light beings. So that's why I teach that. Forbidden Maoshan energy practices. So these practices that have been hidden from the world are specifically designed for awakening this Shi energy. And this is what I teach. I'm not the only person in the world. I know there's got to be others. I'm not aware of anybody that's doing it online. You can do the Forbidden Maoshan energy practices. You can do the 90-day lightning Qigong. So to be able to do that, you go here to thunderwizard.com and you click on memberships. When you do that, you'll scroll down, you'll see Warrior 90-day lightning Qigong. Why am I mentioning that? Because actually the lightning Qigong awakens all three of these Shaktis, because it will awaken the Qi, it will awaken the Kundalini, because I give you Kundalini yoga and mantra and rituals, and I introduce you to awakening the Shi energy. So if you're just starting out and you want to awaken all three of these energies, then the lightning Qigong is the way to go. Thunderwizard.com, click on membership and subscribe to that. Summoning the Immortals. Again, you don't have to do all these in this order. People say, do I have to do this first? No. If you want to get started right now, you can go to thunderwizard.com, click on shop, and you will see there at the bottom, Maoshan Summoning the Immortals Moving Qigong 5D Shift. So that is a very simple moving practice that will do Qigong, because you will be using breath and movement, and also does Shi. It opens up the Shi and it connects you directly to higher dimensional beings. And I say this to people, if you don't believe what I'm saying about all this 5D, 6D, Maoshan, Shi energy stuff, I totally respect that. Prove me wrong. The way that you prove me wrong is by doing the practice. Even if you're a Qigong master, even if you're a Kundalini yoga master, I'm here to tell you that the energy that is waiting for you is more powerful than anything you've experienced. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you to prove me wrong. The way to do that is you do the Maoshan Summoning the Immortals. That is probably the fastest way, or to do the lightning Qigong. Prove me wrong. We have Celestial Qigong, so that is also something. You can go straight into that. You can do all the stuff that I mentioned, or you can go straight into Celestial Qigong. The way that you do that is, again, you go to thunderwizard.com, click on shop, and you'll see Celestial Qigong down there. You can do that. It's just simple postures, simple movements. You'd be surprised how simple it is, and you'll see how powerful it is. When you do something super simple, like some of these postures and simple movements, and you feel the intense power that comes from it, you'll realize that this isn't something made up. We're tapping into a real technology that goes into higher dimensions. And we have the Maoshan moving forms. So go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com, you'll see those. And I recommend this next form for everybody. Now, this is the most recent form that I've uploaded and made available, and that is this form, the Dark Warrior of the North, the Tortoise and the Snake. And this is me in slow motion doing the last part where you gather yin and yang. This practice is all of these things that we've mentioned. It is Qigong, it awakens the Kundalini, and it also awakens the Shi. And it allows you, it takes these energies into a very specific frequency that allows you to see your path going forward and to manifest it. And if everybody, listen, if 1% of the population, I'm dead serious about this, if 1% of the population of planet Earth were doing this practice, this world would shift into 5D instantly. That's the power of this. And it's an entry level enough so that anybody can do it. It's kind of complicated. There's some things that are a little bit complicated, but even if you took the last part of it and did that, you would be able to then look into your future, see where you belong, and then you would create that world. I've done it for myself, and there's no shortage of people who are doing this, who are getting back to me telling me that they've awakened and they know what they're going to do and where they're going to go, and they're not worried anymore about how they're going to make this happen or make ends meet or none of that. It literally gives you the ability to create 5D in a physical, practical way. So I encourage everybody to go do that, and that can be found here. You can find it at the shop. If you want to save some money, go here to maoshan.thunderwizard.com, and you'll find that practice there. All right, so what else can we do to awaken the Shi? The Maoshan moving forms. Okay, so we do have those that can be found here at both places, again at the shop and at maoshan.thunderwizard.com, and those are the 5-element spirit fighting practices. So you can see those here, starting at the bottom left, wood, and then up to the right, metal, fire, water, and earth. Those practices are very high frequency Shi energy that actually works with the 5 elements. So it takes the 5 elements up to a higher frequency, and it balances and creates and heals and cleanses. It's incredibly powerful stuff, and we've got a lot of people doing it, and so I recommend that. I would recommend that for everybody if they were really serious about this energy. And then we have I talked about the tortoise and snake, the Xuan Wu, the dark warrior of the north, and there are 3 forms I have yet to teach. I'm actually gonna record those very soon, and that is one that will help you to become a physical immortal and really connect directly to this Shi energy, and that's called the butterfly set. There are smaller butterfly hands that I've taught. Those were bits and pieces, some of them, of this second set, but the whole set will awaken you. And trust me, there's a reason why I'm holding out, because it is so powerful that when you do it, you better be strapped in, because the energy that's going to flow through you is going to be like nothing you've ever experienced. When I first did it, I had to stop, and I was going at it gangbusters. I was having huge amounts of energy, and I did it going, I'll be able to do it, and I did it, and I had to just put on the brakes, and all kinds of stuff happened, and personal growth and healing that had to happen. That's how powerful this is. There's a set beyond that, which opens up the third eye to a level of Shiva where you can destroy evil, and that one, again, you got to be ready for that energy. And then there's another one which will work directly with the Shen. It's also a very powerful set. Those are yet to come. So these are all of the ways to open the various energies. If you want to do all 3, as I said, follow my practices. And if you have questions, I can tell you exactly what to do and where to go. So that's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this. And now you know the difference between Kundalini and Prana and Shi. You know the difference between simple spiritual awakening, enlightenment, and becoming higher dimensional, perfected immortal. Those are 3 levels of awakening. Now you know the difference on those. Again, any questions you have, let me know. We do the live guided interdimensional meditations twice a week, every Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 p.m. So subscribe and hit the bell button so that you can be notified. If you're not able to come for the live streams, no problem. Just go to the live section on the channel and you can do the meditations there. We're doing them every week, and each one is just getting, they're incredibly powerful. Again, prove me wrong. Go do them. Just show up, put on your headphones, and just go with a open mind, and I guarantee you something will happen. The main thing that's going to happen is that major transformation is coming. That means transformation to your awareness, to your ego, to your understanding of yourself. That can be a challenging thing to go through. I am here, and that's why it's really important that you connect with a group of people, and or you connect with a mentor or a teacher. So the most powerful thing anybody can do is work with me. So if you want to have this, I invite you to go to thunderwizard.com, click on the different membership of things that are available so that you can work directly with me. Things are going to get very interesting very fast. So anyway, just remember I told you. That's it, my friends. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. I will see you all very, very soon.